During this talk, I give a roundup of the new agents or new indications for agents to be applied to different settings of lung cancer. So we have seen some very important advances, both in terms of targeted therapy and immunotherapy in lung cancer over the last year. I focus my talk firstly on new targeted therapies that may have been discovered and developed through clinical trials. And then I focus on some advances on immunotherapy as it applies to non-small cell lung cancer. For the purposes of the presentation, I focused the presentation mainly on non-small cell lung cancer, given the number of advances that have been seen in the field. So in the area of targeted therapies, there have been some seminal advances in the field. EGFR mutant lung cancer, for example, a current standard of care is to use osimertinib, which is a mutant-specific tyrosine kinase inhibitor for sensitizing EGFR mutant lung cancer. Osimertinib was now studied in an adjuvant trial called ADAURA and demonstrated a disease-free survival benefit in this setting. This has now subsequently been approved for use in the United States and will be awaiting assessment in an Irish context. In terms of other molecular subtypes of lung cancer, we have seen an increase in activity or clinical trials that have demonstrated activity in other molecular subtypes as well. In ALK-positive lung cancer, we saw the results of the phase 3 CROWN study, which looked at first-line lorlatinib in patients with ALK rearranged non-small cell lung cancer and demonstrated a benefit in survival outcomes. In some rarer molecular subsets of lung cancer, we saw some new data for ROS1 rearranged lung cancer with the activity of entrectinib in prospective studies. We also saw some advancements in patients with MET exon 14 skipping positive lung cancer with some positive response data for the targeted therapies capmatinib and tepotinib. We also saw a new agent come to the fore in patients with HER2-positive non-small cell lung cancer with an antibody-drug conjugate called trastuzumab deruxtecan. And this was based on the DESTINY-1 study. And this particular agent is also being used in other HER2 aberrant tumor types, such as HER2-positive lung cancer. Probably lastly and most impressively is KRAS mutations, which have been classically called undruggable in lung cancer and in other cancers, have had 2 new molecules come to the fore with demonstrated response improvements in phase 1 studies. And these 2 agents are sotorasib and adagrasib that were both presented or published this year. Lastly, from an immunotherapy perspective, we have seen that giving combinations that are immunotherapy-based have now demonstrated some activity in lung cancer. So specifically, 2 new combinations that are now approved options in the United States would be the combination of Ipilimumab and Nivolumab, which is a combination that is currently licensed for the first-line treatment of melanoma and in patients with renal cell carcinoma. This now shows also a benefit in patients, a subset of patients with non-small cell lung cancer, and is approved for those with a PD-L1 positive lung cancer of greater than 1% in the US. The second study that we saw in advanced non-small cell lung cancer was the CheckMate 9LA study. And this combined Ipilimumab and Nivolumab with platinum doublet chemotherapy. And this study also demonstrated a benefit in survival outcomes. So really quite a blockbuster year for advanced non-small cell lung cancer. And I'm very pleased to provide this update at the gathering this year.